Hey, what's up everybody? Figured I'd just do a quick little review of the Yamaha FZ09, MT09, depending on where you live. I've had it for a couple months, I think 3 months. I've got a little over 3,000 miles on it. Figured I got enough seat time to make a decent review on it. I've ridden a lot of sport bikes, mainly Suzuki. So, I mean, I'm more biased towards Suzuki, so I'm not a Yamaha fanboy by any means. I mean, I like Yamaha, but this is my first Yamaha street bike I've ever owned. But anyway, overall, it's a really good bike. I mean, you figure it's a budget bike. It's only $9,000. They skimp somewhere on the bike, and overall, I'm pretty impressed. Like, a lot of people say the suspension's really soft. I don't think so. Like, I think it's a good combination between sporty and soft. You know, it definitely does soak up the bumps a lot better than, say, probably an R6 or like my GSX-R 1000 I had. But it's still stiff. Like, I mean, you hit a bump, and a good bump, and you really feel it. Like, it's definitely still, it's in between sporty and cruising. You know, it's sport touring. The big one is the throttle. Everybody says the throttle's jerky. I'm gonna agree with that to a point. It's just something you got to get used to. A lot of people complain about Suzuki's throttles being weird, but I've never ever thought Suzuki's throttle was weird. Like, but I've always rode Suzuki's, so I've just gotten used to the way they are. The one thing that really annoys me, you can't turn traction control off while you're moving. Also, you can't turn traction control back on while you're moving. So say it starts downpouring, you have to pull over and stop to put it in 2, which is basically rain mode. You can do the power modes, you know, on the fly. You just let off the throttle and it switches, and you can switch between 1 and 2 on your traction control, but you can't switch from off to 1. So it's weird. Like, I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. And the annoying thing is, every time you shut the key off, it defaults back to number 1 if you have it off. It'll stay in number 2 if you have it on number 2, but the power mode stays the same. I like that. Speaking of power modes, I think standard is pretty well the best overall mode to be in. I like B mode for riding wheelies just because it's not so damn responsive, because this bike is touchy on the throttle. A mode, it's just hard to get used to. So I've just been playing in B mode, and I just pop wheelies a lot easier on this bike in B. They said overall it's a really good bike. It gets good fuel mileage. You know, a lot of people say they don't get very good, but I haven't reset my average thing, and it says 48.3. I haven't reset it in a while, probably 500 miles. So 45 to 50 miles to the gallon, no problem. I don't see why you should get any less than that unless you're like racetracking it. Styling, I really like the tail end on this thing. After you get rid of that big ugly license plate holder, why they ever thought that was a cool idea. The taillight looks really sleek. You know, it looks like it was really designed for the bike. The front end, on the other hand, when I first got this bike, when I first was looking at FZ09s, I didn't care for this year because of the headlight. Like, the fucking headlight to me is just ugly. But I got this Rizoma windscreen, if that's what you really want to call it. It doesn't really block the wind, but I just feel it finishes the front, makes the bike look so much better. But overall, I really like it. The one thing that I wish was different was the seat. I wish the seat was a 2-piece, just because I think a 2-piece looks a little more sporty, like the FZ-07. The benefit is it's easy to get to the battery. All you need is your key. Speaking of seat, it's not a very good seat. Like, I've never changed a seat on any of my motorcycles and never had really an issue. This bike, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it's definitely probably the least comfortable seat I've had. Like, And everybody complains about the DRZ seat like it's the worst thing in the world, but I didn't mind the DRZ seat. But this thing, it's really thin right where you sit, and I don't really care for it. Other than that, like, I just think it's a really great bike. I mean, it doesn't really have any major downfalls. It's responsive, plenty of power, lightweight, nimble, decent brakes. Like, they're not racetrack brakes, but I mean, they'll definitely stop you pretty quick if you need to, you know, stop quick. So that's just kind of my overall thoughts. It's a really great bike. I totally recommend it if anybody's looking at one. I wouldn't really recommend it as a first bike, but hey, if you want to try it, that's your choice. People have started on this bike, so more power to you. It's just it's a very touchy bike, and it builds power really quick. It builds power way quicker than most bikes. But that's just my thoughts. Overall, very, very good bike for the money. I don't think you can go wrong with this bike. If you're looking at picking one up, I would definitely recommend it. But thanks for watching, everybody.